Hi guys, welcome back to Dadskillz. Today we are making bread.
Dadskillz.
We will need strong white bread flour, some olive oil, pinch of sugar, pinch of table salt, some lukewarm water. Okay, I'm going to make a start. And quite importantly, some bread yeast. This is fast action, so that means I don't need to prepare it for 15 minutes and let it to make sure it works. It'll be fine. Right, move all that out of the way. So this is no rules bread really. The most important part of this is the first part I'm going to add, which is a cupful of lukewarm water. And the moisture that I'm putting in now, the water, will regulate everything else, how much flour we put in and how big the loaf will be. So it's just a one cup of lukewarm water. So that's that bit. A pinch of sugar. Salt, table salt, and then a glug of olive oil. Okay, so I don't want the yeast to touch the salt that's gone in there. So, the sieve. I've got the sieve. Right, so we're gonna sieve some flour in first. And then we're going to add the yeast. So these are 7-gram sachets. So we'll put that in on top. And we'll start mixing it in. Now normally, up until this point, I've always done it by hand and always kneaded by hand. But for my wife's birthday, we actually bought a KitchenAid, which is, so I'll try it today, and that'll be the first time I've tried it, so it'll be interesting to see how we get on. So, I don't want to add too much flour, because in the beginning you end up with a brick. So, how's that? Right, let's bring in the KitchenAid. Right, okay. So let's put our mixture in here. I've got the old dough hook attachment on there. What should we get? There it is, our first dough mixture. Turn that and that stays there. Unlock. Right. So in true Dadskillz style, and this is something that I wouldn't recommend, I've not looked at the instructions, but I think without the aid of a 7-year-old, I think I can work out how to use it. Ooh, look at that one. Right. Let's see what we get.
A few moments later.
Right, okay. I think by looking in there, the focus down there, I think looking at that, it's a bit wet. So I'm going to add some flour. So I'd normally need this now for about 10 minutes. But we'll just let the machine get on with it for 10 minutes and see what happens. Right, I'm taking it out. It's just a touch sticky. Let's coat it in that first, and then I think it'll be fine. Yeah. Oh, that feels lovely. So it was just a touch sticky coming out the bowl. After coating it in that to get the stickiness off. Oh, it feels lovely. That's really, oh, it's so nice. And sometimes if you put too much flour in, you know you have, because it feels like an absolute brick. But even at this stage, this feels nice and light and airy and supple. Look at it, it looks wonderful. Right, okay, now we need a tray for it to sit on. Yeah, so I'm really happy with that. As you can see, it's nice and supple and light. That's really nice. Okay, so I've got a baking tray. I'll just put some greaseproof paper on this one because these trays get used for all sorts, so they get a bit rough. I wouldn't want my bread to be sat on the bottom of that. So now, next thing, cling film, just to stop any excess air getting in there. Okay, so this is the first proof, and what is it proving? Well, it's proving that the yeast works, which I'm sure it will do. It hasn't let me down yet. So let's put that over there. Cool. Right, I'm going to get on with the next one, and then I'll show you when I'm done. Right then, this one again just feels lovely, so smooth, and it was really sticky when I got it out the mixing bowl, but you put some flour over it just to take the stickiness off. And did you see on that one I put all the ingredients into the mixing bowl? I've never done it before using the KitchenAid, so I just stuck the whole lot in there, and seems to work out fine. No measurements, as I said, didn't measure anything out apart from the water. The water was the critical ingredient. And you then just do it by eye. See what you think you need. Right then, my little rice puddings. Let's put that on that tray. A bit more cling film.
Later.
Right, okay, I think they've grown to double their size, and it hasn't taken too long really. It's probably only been half an hour. So we'll start with this one. That was the first one to be done. And for some reason I put them on trays. I wouldn't normally do that. I just put them in bowls with with cling film over. I've no idea why I did that, but it doesn't matter. Right, okay, this is the good bit. Now we've got our dough, and our dough turned out pretty well. So now I'm going to add what I want into the bread. So this loaf, these two loaves I think are going to be garlic, sun-dried tomatoes, and if I've got any rosemary, I think I might have, we'll stick that in as well. So this hasn't been out the ground long, this garlic. We went and dug it out the other day. It's a bit late coming out the ground really. They reckon with garlic you should plant it on the shortest day of the year and dig it up on the longest day of the year. But we were a bit past that. The only downside of leaving it in the ground is if it turns wet, and it can tend to start to rot in the ground, but this stuff smells so strong, it's brilliant. So garlic's homegrown, sun-dried tomatoes were grown last year and then dehydrated, and I'll show you those in a moment. Right, so with garlic, like I've learnt in the past is, sorry I've got to do it this-handed, but you can't see that way, so I'll turn it this way. Don't chop it up too small, or else it tends to turn the bread a little bit acrid. The taste isn't great, so if you leave it in these clumps, you get a nice big clump of garlic, and you know you've eaten it, but it hasn't affected the rest of the bread. and I'll just spread this over the 2 loaves that we've done. Right, cool. Sun-dried tomatoes, and these are brilliant. These will keep for absolutely ages. When you sun dry them and then put them in oil, because you tend to get a glut of tomatoes, they'll all become ripe at once, and there's only so many tomatoes you can eat. So I think we'll get all of those in. As you can see, I'm not the cleanest of bakers. It tends to be rough and ready, Dadskillz style. So this one hasn't even been opened. Cool. We'll go for a few more, I think. Oops. I reckon that'll do. Right, put them back. There's a nice bit of oil left in there. Right, we'll just dry these out a bit. Okay, cool. Okay, the first loaf that for some reason I put on a tray that I shouldn't have done. So we'll make mistakes. It should. Oh, look at that! That came off an absolute treat. Now, hopefully, and I think we've got this one perfect. It should be light and airy. That's amazing. That's stuck in it. That's amazing. Right. I'm just going to knock the air out, and I'm going to put it out like this. Now, I don't know if any of this that I'm doing is right. We seem to get the correct result with it. So this is just the way we do it. So that's that. Right, hopefully. There we go, it's about half, and so we'll spread all that out a little bit. Right, I can't find any rosemary anywhere, so for this one, I don't think I'll do it on the other one. But I'm going to add balsamic glaze on the inside. Why? Just because we can, really. See how it turns out. Should turn out quite nice, I would have thought. I've done it before, and it was lovely. Right, we'll just. So I'm not really going to need it because they should be fairly well spread out in there. Right, we'll put that back down. Off the tray again. Oh, look at that one. It's storming in there. Look how. So nice, this should be brilliant. Right, knock a bit of air out of it. Just spread it out. So normally I have a little helper, but I think they're upstairs online with their mates that they haven't really got to see recently. Playing Minecraft or something. So it's just me today. And this is a brilliant Dadskillz tip. This is a brilliant way to bond with your kids if you've got little kids and you don't mind the mess, and the kids certainly won't mind the mess. Do you know what? I'm going to put some balsamic glaze in that one too. Right, and then we're going to roll it up. Lovely job. I know I don't particularly want anything poking through, but because that will get burnt in the cooking process. Right, let's collect up all this free flour that I won't have to clean up later. And then you just work it underneath itself so you get that really nice round. There we go, that's perfect. Brilliant. Right. So I'm going to put one big bit of cling film over them again. Second proving, and as I said before, you're proving that the yeast is working. That's why it's called proving. There is a school of thought to say that you don't need to do it twice with the kind of yeast I was using, which is probably right, but I've never really tried it once. I might do one day. Be interesting. Right, I've been a bit tight with the cling film there. Right, I'm going to put you on time lapse, and I'll see you in about half an hour. Right, okay, they've risen well, really well. About 10 minutes ago I put the oven on, and they've been rising for probably half an hour maybe. They might even have overproved, to be fair, but it doesn't matter, they'll all go in the same place. I'm going to put them both in the oven at the same time. Do you think that's possible? Might be a bit excessive, but I'm going to put them both in, so they're both ready at the same place. Close, isn't it? So, 200 for 20 minutes. See how we go.
"12 seconds later."